Hi everyone, welcome back to channel that shares knowledge about comprehensive personal development through good books. Today's video is part 2 of the book The Consolation of Philosophy, a continuation of the philosophical methods to be able to heal ourselves, bringing warmth and inner strength within us. And now, we will together go into the first part of today's video, consolation for those who feel imperfect. The philosopher Montaigne was born in southwestern France in 1533. He lived in a magnificent castle. At the age of 30, he inherited the family's farm management, but he was not very interested in this and preferred to read books alone upstairs. He had a famous philosophical view like this: knowing that you have said or done something foolish is okay, because the most important lesson we need to learn is that we are all fools. Montaigne believed that humans have reason and think of themselves as intelligent, but sometimes we are not as happy as animals. Animals know how to take care of themselves better than humans. For example, if a sheep is injured, it will find a corresponding type of grass to chew and apply to the wound. If a snake is injured, it will also know how to save itself. But if a person is injured, they cannot do so. There is a story that the philosopher Pyrrho encountered a great storm while traveling by ship. All the passengers panicked, worried that the fragile ship would break before the fierce tide. The only passenger who did not lose his composure and sat quietly in a corner with a very calm expression was a pig. Do we dare to say that the benefit of having reason will help people reduce suffering in life? We praise reason so much that we think we can dominate everything. But when we have knowledge and reason, why can't we still have true peace? Reason gives people the ability to judge and perceive, but the price that must be paid for it is also very high, that is, giving birth to conflict, doubt, anxiety, ambition, envy, lies, infidelity, war, and so on. We need to live rationally, but if we overemphasize reason, meaning that we think what we think is absolutely right, it will be an indirect cause of suffering from the imperfections and flaws of life. For example, being obsessed with not having a beautiful body, being obsessed with being unintelligent, getting low test scores, not having high academic achievements, or an unfulfilling career. Montaigne said that the most foolish person is the one who cannot accept that he can be a fool, an imperfect person. So what? Because in the end, we are all fools. We are fools because the physical body always has limitations and has a great influence on people, and no one can escape this heavy body. No matter how noble we seem, we still have to sit on our butts. That is a witty saying of this philosopher. Therefore, there is not much difference between people. Those with flaws do not need to feel inferior. All the organs on the body, from head to toe, are equal. We do not need to try to cover up any parts that we are not satisfied with, nor do we need to be annoyed by it. After all, everything is just organs of the human body. Besides, we are also foolish because this brain overemphasizes reason and self. Therefore, we have made the problem too important when we see ourselves as weaker than others. For example, many parents place great importance on their children's grades. Montaigne believes that grades at school do not represent intelligence. A person's intelligence is reflected in life lessons, in tests from the very problems of everyday life, not in books. The life of a human being is inherently one part madness and one part wisdom. Therefore, if we acknowledge our weaknesses, stop feeling inferior about what is not as we wish, and stop showing off what makes us complacent, then by living half wise and half foolish, unique to ourselves, we will have a fulfilling life. Consolation for those who are poor. Then, time passed to 341 BC, on the island of Samos in Greece, a child was born, and that child was Epicurus. We have talked about Epicurus in the book Philosophy for Life, which I really like and have shared before. If you have watched that video, you will know that he was a philosopher of hedonism. This school of thought emphasizes that the starting point and the ultimate goal of life is pleasure. Human beings live for pleasure. But when you hear the word pleasure, many people immediately think of indulgence, debauchery, and decadence. People said that he was a glutton, a playboy, living in a disgusting and chaotic environment. He ate a lot every day, and when he was too full, he could vomit and then continue to eat. These things are all rumors. As you know, rumors have wings and spread extremely quickly, so much so that when you look up the Oxford English Dictionary, you will see the word Epicurean. For example, To say this meal is very Epicurean means that the meal is very delicious and luxurious. The term Epicurean symbolizes enjoyment and extravagance. But in reality, Epicurus lived very simply. He only drank water and did not drink wine. Each meal consisted of bread, vegetables, and a handful of olives, which was enough. The list of things that brought him joy was also very minimal, but it could bring himself deep joy, including 3 things. The first is friendship. For Epicurus, to be happy, a person must have friendship. He said, of all the things that wisdom can bring to help people live happily, friendship surpasses everything. Before eating or drinking, think carefully about whom you want to eat with, not about what you eat or drink. Because when you eat without friends, you are no different from a wolf or a lion. The reason he founded a school of philosophy was also so he could be with friends who shared the same values and who pursued simple happiness like him. The second is freedom. The freedom that Epicurus proposed is like the freedom that I have shared in the video about the book Walden, Living Alone in the Forest. The author Thoreau only worked 6 weeks and earned enough to live for a year and would then rest. No one could take away the rest of his time. He would just sit by the lake reading books, go for walks, play, listen to the birds singing, and observe nature. For him, this was true freedom. Looking at ourselves today, we have spent too much time trying to earn more money, and because of that we have lost a lot of freedom. The third thing he mentioned is thought. That is, if you only have simple thoughts and do not pursue deep goals, if you do not read many books, do not have a clear understanding of nature, yourself, and life, then your freedom or friendship will be superficial. Therefore, you cannot feel what true joy and happiness really are. Therefore, the most important thing is to cultivate the ability to deeply contemplate. Epicurus believed that you could completely have joy by living a simple life like that. But this does not mean that you have to give up all desires, and he also divided human desires into 3 types. First, there are natural and necessary desires. These are the most basic needs in life that we all must have, for example, the need for food, shelter, clothing, freedom, friends, ideas, etc. Second, there are natural but not necessary desires. For example, having a house, but wanting a bigger house, having a car, but wanting a better one, having food, but wanting delicacies. These things are not really necessary. And finally, there are desires that are neither natural nor necessary, specifically, the pursuit of status and fame. For example, your initial intention was to share something on social media, but the more you do it, the more obsessed you become with the goal of having to be famous and have many people know you. Things like this are all illusions, because they do not bring you happiness but only create an additional burden. Therefore, you will see that redefining your desires will help you heal your own life. In fact, with an income of under 10 million a month, you will be very happy to be able to earn an additional 1 or 2 million. But for instance, when your monthly income has reached 50 million or 100 million, the feeling is practically the same, because no matter how rich you are, you can only walk, sit, lie down, and live. Epicurus helps you realize that we can completely put aside all the sorrows, suffering, and resentment that come from feeling like we do not have enough money, by seeing through this question: why do people in today's society still have to find ways to pursue more things, only to ultimately suffer because they cannot achieve them? It is because we have not truly understood our own needs. In fact, what you need is not too complicated. It only includes freedom, connection, and the basic needs of life, and that is enough. Simplifying everything will help you be happy. But because you don't understand what you really need, a shallow inner self and a lack of deep wisdom will prevent you from understanding what true freedom, friendship, and love really are. Therefore, when there are no answers and we keep rushing forward, people will believe that expensive things will help us achieve what we want, thinking that if they achieve financial freedom, they will truly have freedom, thinking that a fancy bottle of wine will help us make friends, thinking that having a big house and a private car will help us find an ideal partner, etc. But those things are not your true needs, but only unnecessary desires. So, after hearing Epicurus's story, do you feel a little more at peace? With just a little bread and a few olives, you really can live a good life. Consolation for those who are facing obstacles. Next, we move from the Greek times to Rome to meet the philosopher Seneca. Do you know the notoriously cruel tyrant Nero of ancient Rome? Seneca was actually Nero's teacher for 5 years, and an assistant to this tyrant for 15 years. Perhaps the two of them had a rather good emotional connection. However, Nero sent a group of soldiers to Seneca's house and ordered him to commit suicide. At this time, his wife and the people around Seneca burst into tears because they mourned that he was a talented philosopher and a person of good character. However, Seneca was extremely calm and said a famous quote, "Where has everyone's philosophy gone?" It was through Seneca that the word philosophy first appeared in the Western discourse system. Philosophy, from the beginning, meant being calm and composed. Seneca was a prime example of composure. He was one of the most important representatives of Stoicism, one of the 4 major philosophical schools of ancient Greece. The tenet of Stoicism is to maintain inner peace when facing a chaotic, unpredictable, and harsh world. Seneca had experienced the decline of the debauched city of Pompeii. He had lived during the reign of Caligula, the most insane, cruel, and depraved emperor in the world, and then had to face the tyrant Nero. When he was 20, Seneca had tuberculosis, but by working diligently, he was finally able to survive after 6 years of fighting the disease. But the result was that after Caligula was assassinated, he was caught up in an internal coup and was exiled for another 8 years. How could Seneca face such an incredibly unimaginable life of hardship? He said that it was philosophy that brought him life and calmness. By this method, philosophy was the least he could repay for philosophy. The core of Seneca's philosophy is that life cannot avoid hardships. Therefore, everyone must be prepared to accept them. Let's look back at ourselves. When encountering obstacles, most people often just get angry. With just a strand of hair falling into a bowl of soup, a fly flying around the restaurant, mom cooking dinner late, someone speaking loudly and creating chaos while we are studying, a car behind us honking incessantly, etc., you will also feel angry, like you want to go crazy. Seneca was the teacher of an emperor, living among the powerful aristocracy, yet he believed that life cannot be perfect. Children not listening, friends turning their backs on you, enemies plotting against you, a lover betraying you, a collapsing career, etc., or even when facing major downturns like unfortunate accidents or serious, incurable diseases. According to Stoicism, you can still remain calm and feel no regret. Even if these things happen at any time, because impermanent things happen every day, anxiety only comes from resisting impermanence. Seneca believed that wise people have nothing to lose because they can always find satisfaction within themselves, and he said, "I have never believed in the goddess of fortune. Even when she seems willing to give me a peaceful life, I put all the money, titles, and power that she gave me aside, and she can take them away at any time without disturbing me. I keep a distance from those material things so that she can take them away instead of me feeling deprived." The reason that people fall apart due to life's obstacles and failures is that we have not truly kept a distance between ourselves and what we have. This distance is a place where you can remain calm even when those things are lost, and it is the boundary that prevents you from mixing with and being assimilated by all material things. Losing your house, losing your job, losing your lover, losing a gold ring, or having your phone screen broken by accident if you are still suffering, it means that you are still being dominated by material things. Therefore, in this part, you will receive healing from your pain through the philosophical method of Stoicism, which is to always keep a distance from all material possessions, positions, fame, and relationships that you have, and to calmly and peacefully accept all changes of impermanence. So, above are 3 portions of the content from 3 philosophers, Socrates, Epicurus, and Seneca. They have given us comfort in many aspects of life, helping you realize that when you feel unaccepted by others, when you are poor, and when you encounter failure, you can still be steadfast, calm, and live happily. That is what the wisdom of ancient Greece and Rome illuminates for us. However, for hundreds of years, the philosophy of ancient Greece and Rome was forgotten. Many documents were lost and burned. The remaining fragments were placed in attics and libraries of monasteries, so that not until the 16th century did it once again become a guiding light for modern Western philosophers. And they have constantly read and researched the ancient philosophers, as well as put forth their own philosophical views to continue guiding us. You will see that philosophy from ancient times to the present has always continued and has not stopped doing its job of providing enlightenment. Due to the length of the video and with the hope that you can focus more effectively, I will divide this book into 2 parts over 2 consecutive videos. Thanks for listening. If you find this video helpful, please share it with those who need it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to watch new videos every week. Once again, thank you very much and see you in the next videos.